Welcome, everyone. This is so exciting. This is Leslie Flowers, and I am here with the distinct honor of getting to interview the creator and designer of the Alchemy of Successful Online Marketing Summit, Lynn Gray. Hi, Haley.
Hey there, so glad to have you do this with me.
Oh, how much fun this is going to be. So let me share Haley's bio information so you know about the woman who created this amazing summit. I mean, it's just, I'm thrilled. And I am one of the speakers, and I just am happy about what she's doing now. Haley is a business consultant and founder of leadershipgirl.com. And she founded Leadership Girl with the radical notion that women can harness their unique power and skills to become highly effective leaders. Yes, she's a best-selling author of Leadership Girl and a graduate of Duke University's Fuqua School of Business with an MBA with a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation. She's experienced with starting up small, successful businesses, growing them, and then selling them. She's worked with hundreds of small business owners since Leadership Girl was founded, and she has a passion for helping their owners find ways to grow their business, acquire visibility, and transform into the go-to expert in their industry while saving them significant amounts of money. I like it. Now, Haley is also a founder of the 60,000 plus strong Women's Entrepreneur Network group on Facebook, which she successfully grew in only 2 years. Oh my. It is recognized as one of the best, most engaging and helpful groups of this type on Facebook. By working with clients one-on-one and in small groups and with a variety of different programs, Haley helps clients grow their businesses in a way that makes sense for them, since no two businesses are exactly the same. And it's the belief that each business has its own unique fingerprint. Haley believes that when we recognize and work with our unique business strengths and weaknesses, we're going to find the best results. There is no one-size-fits-all for leadership or business modeling. Haley says we all are unique, so playing to our strengths yields our best outcomes. So it sounds like she's working all the time. When she's not working, she is an avid volunteer and is on the board of directors for Cure AHC and My Sahana. She's a longtime Girl Scout troop leader and volunteer. Thousands of cookies. Okay. And she's the mother of 4 really active kids, has a mini zoo in her home with a variety of pets, including cats, a horse. The horse is in the house? I don't think so.
The horse is not in the house.
Thank you. Chinchilla, rabbit, fish, and turtles. Haley understands that sometimes life gets in the way and is messy, but that it is beautiful anyway. So welcome, Haley.
Thank you.
Thanks for organizing this for us, and tell us about your area of expertise. I can't wait to hear.
My area of expertise with working with small businesses is really focusing on marketing and marketing strategy, but not just, hey, let's go throw up a webinar, hey, let's go throw up a Facebook group or do something like that. But it's really look at your business as a whole and figure out what you're trying to do, what your goals are, what kind of growth you're looking for, what your budget is, and really take all of the pieces and put them together and turn them into a plan and execute that plan for that business. So it's really that planning piece, analysis, figure out what's working, figure out what's not, and put it all together again.
Great, great. Well, I love it. You know what came to mind was a puzzle.
It is a puzzle. It absolutely is. It's a lot like a puzzle, because there are some entrepreneurs for whom doing a summit like this will be absolutely phenomenal in their business. And then there are some for whom it will absolutely not be phenomenal in their business. And, maybe writing a book instead, or using webinars to draw people in, picking and choosing and figuring out what is going to work for you for your particular type of business. Mm-hmm. Is really important, and understanding what the limitations of each choice are, and understanding my client enough to be able to make those recommendations to say, hey, I think you really enjoy doing this, so I think that this would make a really good option for you for bringing clients in and making more sales in your business.
Super. Well, at least when we think of it as a puzzle, it can be fun. Sometimes when I think about a business plan, it doesn't sound as much fun as putting together a puzzle.
Right. Yeah. And it's really that sleuthing and looking at somebody's business and saying, okay, so where are the holes? What are we missing? And using that analytics piece to figure out, okay, so what's working and what's not working? Where are people falling out of, favor with my business? What's going well? What's not going well? And really trying to adapt and figure that out. Because an attorney or a realtor is going to have very different needs from somebody who's operating strictly in the online space. So understanding, even what some of the restrictions are for marketing and how you can market yourself based on your profession is going to be important here.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
What's your favorite thing to do, Haley?
What is my favorite thing to do? For me, it's really figuring out who my client is, what their needs are, and then seeing that, what solutions are possible with that client, and then executing it and making that come to fruition, preferably in a reasonable timeline. One of the things that I think a lot of people run into with, website designers or somebody who does sales funnels or, all these people, is that it takes months and months and months to see results. And it can be time consuming, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have to take 6 months or 12 months or whatever to execute certain steps in your business. It really frustrates me when I see a website that's taking somebody 4 or 6 or 8 months to develop, once the designer has all of the information that they need. There's no reason why it should take that long, other than the fact that the designer is maybe overwhelmed, too busy, taking on too many clients, not scaling appropriately, that kind of a thing.
So do you serve as like a liaison? So if a client came to you and wanted some or all of what you had, so you would do some things, but don't you also have resources for people that can support you so tell me a little bit about that process. Like, I would want a one-stop shop.
Right.
Rather than jumping around. So speak to us as the one-stop shop in being a marketing alchemist.
And so that's one of the things that I think that I can do particularly well is understand what the person's needs are and then bring in other resources, whether it's copywriters or, doing Facebook ads or implementing particular types of sales funnels or automating certain things on your website or, doing a variety of different things. Managing a Facebook group, is a whole other skill set. Managing social media is a different skill set than putting up a website. So understanding what those different skill sets are and then using different people who are on my team and, making sure that they're getting the right resources at the right time, at a reasonable price too, because sometimes you get people who will come in and they'll be like, yeah, I'll do that for you. And it'll be some exorbitantly large number. And it's understanding, what is a fair and reasonable charge in this industry and not going hog wild in any one direction.
Well, it sounds like there's due diligence and you've done that. Mm-hmm. And for me as a small business owner, I like the turnkey, and listen, this is an investment, a financial investment. So the
Mhm.
sooner we can get it done with the most expert hand is
Mhm.
what I'm looking for.
Right.
Do you find that to be true with your clients?
Absolutely. People want to see stuff done quickly. They want to see it done precisely. They want to see it done professionally. And, knowing how to do those things and execute them and make them happen is critically important. And it's not just about me, taking something where, a client is having an issue or their website got hacked and just handing it to somebody on my team. No, a lot of times I'm in there in the middle of it, figuring out what happened, how their website got hacked, working with other, resources who, maybe are hosting or whatever to clear up the problem and make sure that it's all cleared up and that the website is back up in as little time as possible. It's not just about, hey, well, you're going to call me and I'm going to go open a ticket with somebody on my staff and wait for them to go fix it.
Right,
The
right.
buck stops here.
Hmm. Well, that is awesome. I love that. So let's say that I'm kind of new and maybe I've been burned, or
Most people have.
I've been, yeah, a lot of people have. I have. I kind of thought it was part of the learning and growing process, but it sounds like what you're saying is that the safest bet is to find someone who has done it all and who has a team and to do a turnkey. But so let's say that somebody's relatively new and they just don't know where to begin with marketing.
Right.
Do you have a program for that, or how would I approach if I'm new? What would you recommend that I do? I'm new in business. I know I got to do some marketing. I don't really know much about it. Do you have a program that maybe I could get into?
Absolutely. I do my marketing boot camp, which is actually going to be launching in April.
Oh,
Um, but it's also about, hey, maybe just sit down with me and talk and see, what we can do and what we can't do. One of the things that frustrates me no end is sometimes marketers will really, really sell their services. If you have this branding, people are going to buy your stuff like hotcakes, and your stuff is just going to fly off the shelf with the right logo. And, if you just have the right website, the right SEO, this, that, the other, things are going to just like pick up like that. And that is really not the case. Hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but let's be real. There is no one thing that is going to be that, oh my gosh, boom, I'm going to sell 1,000,000 products. It's going to be this process of layering things on and putting together a solution, trying something, seeing what works. If that doesn't work, you try something else. And understanding, your audience, who you're talking to, who you're marketing to, but really being careful about who you hire, and making sure that you're not being oversold on what they can do. And over promised and under delivered is something that happens all day long in this industry. And I really prefer to go the opposite direction. I really prefer to under promise and over deliver like mad.
I love it. I love it. So, what's one thing that everybody needs to know about who Haley is? I mean, I look at this group of 60,000 people that you congregated in 2 years. I look at your menagerie of animals. I know that you have four wonderful active kids, and none of them are teeny, right? They're all big kids. Um, I guess if you were going to share one thing about the magic and the alchemy of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
what would that be?
It's all about the human connection.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how slick, how beautiful, how gorgeous, how wonderful your website is, how slick your copy is, how long your sales pages are, how overproduced your video is, any of that. People are going to connect to you as a person. When you start focusing on your clients as people and on your prospects as people and genuinely reaching out and building connections, that's when the magic truly happens. I mean, you don't need a website for that. You don't need a fancy sales funnel. You don't need anything but yourself and maybe a business card. And that's kind of the hairy underside that nobody talks about in marketing, is that it's really about the human connection and knowing who your audience is and getting in touch with them. Mm-hmm. That's why people who have done door-to-door sales, you know, doing vacuum sales or, you know, Mary Kay or whatever, have done so well in their business because they know who their target demographic is. You know, that vacuum salesman comes in and shows you, hey, I'm going to vacuum up Godzilla. And the housewife is there going, wow, that's pretty amazing. I need that in my life because I'm really tired of vacuuming over this 23 times trying to suck up the mess on the floor. So it's really about building that connection and so having that interaction with people, you know, even face to face and, you know, over video or however it is, but feeling that you can build that know, like, and trust factor, because without that, nothing else happens.
Got it. So even if you had a moderate website and a relatively or a good solid plan, it doesn't actually have to be the best. What has to be the best is your authenticity, your vulnerability, and your level of engagement. Mm-hmm. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better.
Oh, well. I'm just listening for myself, and as though I were just starting out, what would I want to hear? So I'm hearing that, you know, really too, that networking is important, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're in a career and, you know, you're in the office all day, that networking is really important. Is that right?
Networking is critical in your business. Absolutely critical. Whether it's networking online, if it's networking in person, however it is, you know, networking and building that network is where it's at, because people have to know what you do in order to refer to you, in order to buy from you. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have those connections, if you don't have that, you don't have much. And a lot of people will say, hey, you know, look, I'm an introvert. I really don't like networking. Mm-hmm. Well, I have bad news for you. I'm an introvert too. I'm an engineer by training and a computer programmer. And if you know anything about computer programmers, you'll know that we really prefer to hide behind the computer. And talking to people is maybe not our forte. Understanding social cues is like, yeah, not always been my strength. Right. And networking meetings give me the heebie-jeebies. And in fact, when I first started going to networking meetings in person, I had people who would laugh because they knew how badly, they could tell just from my body language, how badly I hated it. And then it was almost worse than Chinese water torture. And I would, you know, go around the outside of the room because I get claustrophobic in large groups of people. And yet I made myself do it until I got good at it. Same thing with online marketing, going and building a large Facebook group, going out there and getting people to actually interact with one another, getting that engagement up, getting people to connect authentically and build relationships has been huge. The number of splinter groups that have come off of my larger women's entrepreneur network and the amount of dollars that have been made as a result of that has been tremendous, because people are coming in and connecting authentically. And it doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional. It's day in, day out, consistent relationship building and connecting with people, whether you want to or not.
Now, do you have to spend all day on social media, or can you actually, like, because social media seems to be such an important thing, and mm-hmm. we have to connect with people and respond to their posts. How do you manage it all? Haley, how do you manage it all?
I use a variety of different tools, and I also use a timer. I auto schedule a good number of my posts, and then I allow myself to spend a certain amount of time on social media per day, and I check it a couple of times during the day. Mm-hmm. And I also make a point of setting a timer when I'm going and hanging out in the Facebook groups. We're going and doing certain things and making it a point a definitive point that I'm not dropping my links in, I'm not telling you, hey, here's what I do, here's what I do, here's what I do, but hey, here's connecting. Here, let me answer your question genuinely and say, hey, by the way, if you need help. Now, I could go and be a little bit more aggressive and absolutely private message anybody whose questions I've answered, but I have actually made it a point to not take my marketing to that level, and being quite that pointed with my marketing. And the reason that I've been a little bit cautious with that is that I really want people to feel like, they can ask a question without having me private message them and saying, hey, here, buy my stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm hearing is that what they call push and pull marketing. What I'm hearing is that you provide way more content and value than you do. The push marketing is like, I have a program available. So like, what's the ratio on that? How do you do that?
I usually post 10 to 15 times for every time that I promote.
Now see, and then that we don't feel like, right, nobody can feel like you're pushing anything at them. You're providing content, and that should naturally spark the interest, right? And the connection.
Exactly. And the point here is to have a natural reaction. There is a natural connection. If you go back to Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, one of the things he talks about is making deposits and withdrawals. And there's a lot of discussion in the psychology of that, behavioral economics. If you look at Dan Ariely, who's a professor on faculty at Duke, he's a behavioral economist. You talk about people's natural behaviors, and there's some natural psychology that happens when you're making deposits and when you're making withdrawals. And a withdrawal is anytime you say, buy from me. And the deposits are, here, let's talk, let's chat, let's be interesting to one another, let's build a connection, let's do these things. And generally, it's a minimum of 8 to 1 deposits for every withdrawal, because the human brain doesn't read a withdrawal with the same intensity that it does a deposit. So people a lot of times really badly want to promote their stuff, but they don't realize how badly they're hurting themselves, because they're saying, buy, 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 buy. Oh, here's something funny. Buy, 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 buy. Oh, here's something funny, because they're overdrawing their account with people and then wondering why, they're not getting the results they want. And then the other thing that's happening now, if you look at social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they start showing your posts to fewer and fewer and fewer people. And if you cross the lines and you're not following that deposit more than you're taking, on your personal profile, you may actually find yourself with your account in Facebook jail, or, your reach for your Facebook page being pretty much zero, because you're not following those rules of social engagement of make those deposits before you make those withdrawals.
Well, I remember when I first started out, and honestly, my stuff is the best and everybody needs it, right? And so, and it's all I could do not to promote. Mm-hmm. Like on your Facebook group, you decided not to have any promoting on February, and Sundays was the only day. And so I kind of look forward to that day. I provide content during the week, but then I love that Sunday. So, but for those people who are just so zealous about their product and they believe in their product, I know they do.
Absolutely.
They want you to have the product, because, we get it that they know that it works. Yet we have to step back, don't we, Haley?
We do. Absolutely. I know that I can do a killer website. Mm-hmm. I know that most people out there, need to have more maintenance done on their website, because they need to have extra plugins taken off of their website and any additional themes taken off and, you know, everything updated, and they need to have some tweaks done to improve their conversion rates. Sure, we all need that, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to walk up to you at a meeting and say, hey, by the way, you need me to do all this stuff for your website. You know, watch how fast somebody runs if I were to do that. I mean,
so I guess the takeaway then is, for those who are new, if you're recognizing yourself as the one who jumps in and posts and promo, people get that you love what you do and that you are really heart-centered. However, the message is the opposite. Mm-hmm. That you're money first, people second, but you want to be people first, money second. And there is an inauthenticity that comes across, doesn't it? If you really say you're a heart-centered servant, yet you're pushing all the time, what are you? Haley, what are you?
A mess. Broke. You know, that, you know, a lot of people are constantly saying, I don't have any money. I don't know. I'm posting all the time, but I'm not seeing any results. You know, where I start to look at them, you know, I'll look at their profile and I'll be like, well, you're 90% promo. You need to flip it around the other way. It needs to be 90% other stuff. It needs to be funny, interesting, engaging, and it needs to appeal to your audience, not just any random audience, but the audience who is going to buy your stuff.
You know, we probably should have done this at the beginning, but Haley, for those who have been listening all this time, what is your mission with this summit? Why are you doing this? Because I know it's a lot of work. So tell us about why it's Marketing Alchemy and why you're doing this, because you have lots of clients and you don't need to do this. So what's your mission? What do you want people to get out of this summit? What's the best way to engage with the summit?
Sure. I mean, I really want people who are coming through this summit to watch the videos, get the resources, learn some of the lessons. A lot of times people have that, oh, well, I don't need to do that in my business. I'm just going to hire somebody to do it. That's great. That's wonderful. Most people, especially when they're a relatively new business, can't afford to do it. You know, just hiring somebody can be prohibitively expensive. You know, and then B, understanding that you can't just buy yourself into having a huge following. It doesn't just happen that way. You have to build the know, like, and trust factor and grow things carefully. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a process here. It's not just like you just step out and it's all there.
Mm-hmm. So the best way to engage in the summit is to do your best to watch all the videos. Yes?
Watch as many as you can get, or at least look and see who is speaking. And there are some amazing speakers, you know, and get the VIP pass and understand that, you know, you're going to want to go back and rewatch some of these things. We have got so many amazing people talking about how to use video for Facebook, how, you know, the core foundations and the pillars of branding. We have people talking about identifying your ideal clients and knowing who that ideal client is. And I can give you a hint, it is not everybody from 20 to 90 who has skin. You know, because your 20-year-old has very different needs than your 90-year-old does. You know, and a very different, you know, income profile and so many other things. So you can't generalize quite that much, or everybody with a spine is another one that I've heard. And really go in and learn some of these lessons and listen to some of these teachings that are going by and really apply them to your business, because chances are, you know, even if you can afford to hire somebody out to do all this stuff, you need to know enough in your business to know when somebody's BSing you.
And also to ask the right questions.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, just enough. You have to know just enough. So this is awesome. So you said there's a way. So because we know we need to listen to this more than once, mm-hmm. So each one of these presentations are available for 48 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then if I want to watch them all, what do I do? I want to have my own little cauldron with all.
Well, yeah, you can log on every day and watch your videos, or you can do it every 2 days. Or you can get the VIP pass and have access to those forever.
Oh.
Mm.
Oh, that's really good. And so tell us a little bit about your marketing alchemy boot camp, what it entails based on what we've already talked about. Like what little nuggets are you going to cover so that if that's the right thing for me, I know that I'm going in the right direction?
Sure. We're going to talk about identifying your ideal client, who it is, and their wants, needs, and desires, interviewing your ideal clients.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Facebook pages. We're going to talk about ads. We're going to talk about building a Facebook group. We're going to go into the deep nitty-gritty details of what it takes to build a Facebook group with 61,000 members. And a lot of the things that we end up doing that people don't really realize are going on in the background, and some of the nonsensical rules that we have, or that seem like they're nonsensical on the outside, and that you understand why things are being done a certain way on the inside. We're going to cover Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn, and we're also going to talk about content creation, but we're also going to talk about content scheduling, reuse, reusing, recycling, so that you're not constantly having to create content over and over and over again, because chances are you've already got a couple of really great articles, and if we take that and leverage it and slice and dice it with a Ginsu knife and do it right, you're going to have all of the content you could ever need without having to create piles and piles and piles of content, because that is just exhausting.
So this actually sounds like a foundation, like a basic foundation for your marketing house. Like first you put down the piers and footing so that when you build it, it's solid. Is that kind of like what it is?
That is exactly what it is. And you know, it's really about understanding what you need to know about some of this stuff, like, you know, why you won't ever boost a post on Facebook, or 99.9% of the time you're not going to boost a post on Facebook, and here's why.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been very illuminating. Is there any last words that you want to say to your wonderful public? It's certainly been a pleasure for me. Tell us the best way to reach you, and
Sure.
Anything else that you'd like to leave us with before we begin this wonderful journey with you.
Sure. They can get me online at leadershipgirl.com.
Okay.
And there's a contact me form right there on the website. You can also actually find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. On Twitter and Instagram, I'm Dartha Stewart, the dark side of housekeeping, because, well, I'm not the best at housekeeping. Dartha Stewart.
Okay.
And everywhere else, I'm Haley Gray, or Haley Lynn Gray. You can find me pretty easily, and you can also find me obviously in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. Message me on Facebook. I'm always around. I don't always instantaneously respond if I'm with a client or I'm asleep, but I do get back to people.
Oh, you sleep too?
I know, it's crazy, right?
Well, I just want to thank you, Haley, for sharing today with us, and also creating this amazing summit. I find marketing one of the enigmas in business, and not only that, but it changes all the time. So it's really powerful to have somebody who stays and keeps up with it, but also wants us to learn enough so that we can have an intelligent conversation about it, right? No more of hiring someone, paying them a lot of money. There's more that's involved in it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's with great thanks and gratitude that you have now been enjoying time with Haley Lynn Gray, the head of the CEO of leadershipgirl.com, and the dreamer and organizer of the Alchemy of Successful Online Marketing Summit. Thanks, Haley.
Thank you.